Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. All things Middle Earth here with a really quick video talking about which of these season rewards you should worry about getting because they are a lot worse than they look, at least in my opinion. And this really hasn't been updated since 1.0 changed to 2.0. Devs, if you're watching, this absolutely needs updated. But for now, if you're a player wondering what the best options are, I'm going to talk through them in just 1 second. Okay, so like I said, this absolutely needs to be updated, and at devs, again, that would be a big incentive for players to compete and keep working in seasons, because honestly, right now, it's pretty underwhelming. I think there is a very obvious best choice you can do, but previously, things like the carved dragon tooth necklace was really, really broken, a very good item. If you won, you were getting this. Honestly, the effect didn't even matter like that much. There were definitely better ones, but it was just a very, very good piece. This now is just focused around unit attack and defense, which if you have not played 2.0 a lot or don't know for sure, unit damage is just not really a thing in 2.0 right now. And unless they significantly change that or change this item and what it does, I just do not think it's worth getting, which sucks because you can only get it if you win. Again, I have one from, I think, our last season and just sits doing nothing kind of as like a collectible token. So to me, it's not worth getting at all and I wouldn't mess with it. Again, maybe there are a few cases where you're running potentially like an elf build with Gil. I think the elves and Gil are one of the only troop damage builds that are decent, but even that being said, they're still not like the best meta team in the game, and the best meta team in the game does not use this. All right, next up is the Mithril Coat. Mithril Coat used to be one of those kind of like underwhelming pieces, but if you had one with tactical maneuvers, it was going to be very good, especially once you got that refined like 3, 4, or 5. It started getting very, very nice with good focus. Now we have high commander defense, which unless you're using Falcon, if you're using a Falcon and want high commander defense, this could be a good option for you. However, I feel like that's such a kind of narrow, playing field with just Falcon that it wouldn't be worth getting in my opinion. Again, if you know what you're doing, you got a Falcon. If you already have these and want refinement, or you're just wanting that best in slot unit or commander defense piece, this works for that, but it's also not one I would mess with. Again, unless I was using Falcon, which I am on my alt, and I still wouldn't go for this. Next up is the Ancient Numenorian Helm. This was really only worth getting before if you wanted to try and get Tranquility on it. It's a very good effect that was on this. Now there's no Tranquility anymore, and this is still just an underwhelming piece with just a lot of random stats. So very much easily a non-choice to get with your season reward points. Now last but actually not least, and one that was probably the most underwhelming before, has actually become the best item you can get in the season store. In terms of actual gear, we're looking at first the Blazing Tongue. It is a weapon. It has commander damage as a main stat, which is very, very good. And it has equal attack and focus. Now, it's not the best for attack or focus. I think it's like a 3rd or 4th runner-up for both of them. So it's not the perfect piece. However, if you have some or you start getting them from the store every season, you could work on refining this over time and it actually could be a decent piece. The other thing is, obviously, since there are so many set effects in the game, getting more of these gives you a chance to get some of the better offensive sets like Perseverance, Warcry, Lord of the Arcane, Might, whatever it is. And again, even something like Agility or Divide and Conquer, Evasive Action. Those are ones that would be decent as well. And if I got this and got any of those 6 or 7 I listed, I'd be pretty happy. So honestly, for me, I'm going to be getting this on both of my accounts and just try to start hanging on and honestly build a fully refined one. Again, it's not the best in slot for focus or physical damage, but it's decent at both. And out of the 4, if you're getting one, I think it's far and away the best option. You should be getting the Blazing Tongue if you're going to get one. Now, before I talk about the last thing in the store that is absolutely worth getting, you should get every time regardless. We'll talk about that in a second, which you probably already know what it is. I just want to say that there is obviously a chance that they adjust this because it really does not make any sense in 2.0. So something you could do, which would be the safe bet, would be to save all of your points. Save a couple we're going to talk about in a second, but you could save all your points or a majority of them and not get any of these items that cost 1,000. Because if they update the store and add different options here, potentially having several thousand saved up could be a very good thing. Now, first of all, you can only buy 1 item each month. So if they add 1 new item, you can get that 1 time and that's it. So if they just kind of shuffle these down and add one, having multiple thousand points doesn't really make a difference. But if they rework the whole store and add several items, let's say they add a plant here, let's say they add a fine smoking pipe, let's say whatever it is, or maybe there's even a new item that comes out. If there are multiple options, you might be glad you saved all your points so you can kind of get all those at one time. But that's a big if. So just putting that out there, the kind of, safest option would be to save as many as you can. I personally just don't think they're going to rework the whole store and, make it worth having thousands and thousands. But You never know, that surprises us a lot. So me, I'm going to be getting the Blazing Tongue. The other thing I'm going to be grabbing every single time is going to be these Elven Craftsman's Hammers. They are 200 for 2. It's very cheap, and I would honestly grab these without thinking. If you want to use a Blazing Tongue, depending on your account, you could get this, but I would say the hammers are the must. The Blazing Tongue, if you have extra points, kind of become like the next runner-up best option. And if you want to save points, I just get the hammers and kind of let your points sit there. But they might never update it. So it just depends on how much you think a Blazing Tongue could benefit your account on even a second formation, and once it gets nicely refined, whatever it is. So to me, it's pretty much a no-brainer with the hammers first, and I think the Blazing Tongue is the only other decent option, but it's not like it's one of the best ones. It's just, again, third or fourth for focus or physical damage, which can be nice. And if you're hunting for a certain set effect, it could be the one that gives you that effect you're finally looking for. That makes it worth it. But those are just my thoughts on the Season Store Netties. We definitely need these reworked. I think the whole store should be redone and be a little bit better, because if you want seasons to be active and competitive till the end, this store needs to be really worth it for players to get really good items and actually have good increase in their accounts. Again, I think there should be even more ways to receive season points or season medals, not just based off winning or losing or finishing with contribution. There should be season medals awarded for most red tiles taken, or, you know, just like if you go to the season page here and go to the target leaderboard, this is all for contribution, which really heavily leans its way towards if you are a big fighter, a bigger whale, you get more points. Although tile taking is still very important. So if there was another leaderboard just for red enemy tiles taken, that could be a cool way to award players who are free to play, low spenders, who are just highly active and helping out in those kind of support roles. There could be a leaderboard for that too. So I think the whole store needs some work personally. But again, like I said, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys think down below. Which item are you getting, if any? Again, I think you could talk about Gold Mithril or the Mathams. I just don't think those are worth it in the long term. But let me know what you guys are getting. And as always, I'll see you guys in the next video.